Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining for today's webinar. As we are continuing our webinar series to bring Papaya closer to our clients, covering essential topics in global workforce management, showcasing what's new at Papaya, and helping customers leverage our technology in its fullest potential. Today, we are focusing on a particular area on integrations and how to connect your tech stacks to Papaya and how to automate and leverage this to manage and pay your workforce. I'm pleased to introduce our speakers for today, Irit Cohen and Perry Legat. And um, just for a few administrative points, you are more than welcome to submit your questions on the chat at the bottom of the Zoom. We will be more than happy to answer these questions at the end of the webinar. And over to you, Irit.
Thank you very much, Elan, for the introduction. So, hello, everybody. It's very exciting to see all of you here. My name is Irit Cohen, and I lead the integrations domain in Papaya Global's product department. I'm very excited to show you guys and walk you through our integration platform and show you how you can connect your systems into Papaya quickly, accurately, and in a scalable way. So just before we start, I just want to start and explain why we chose to speak on this topic and why we feel integrations are so important. So we at Papaya Global really believe that data integration is the foundation to a successful payroll and payments flow. So for each cycle, we know we need to enter many different data points from our customers. So we need to enter HR data, time off data, expenses, and those are all coming from usually different platforms, and even some customers use different platforms and systems globally. So we need to have a flexible and fast and agnostic integrations platform. And that's exactly what we aim to do in our integrations domain. And today we'll walk you through our integrations platform. We'll show you how to connect with leading HRISs into our platform. What is the difference between the HCM Cloud Connector and the API-based integrations that we have? How do we view the results of our data imports and understanding what are the different errors and how to handle them? And lastly, we'll also go over what do we do if we don't know what to do, if we have an error or an issue we don't know how to face, and how to contact Papaya in that case. So a little bit about our integrations approach, because we know we need all those different data points. We have a dual path view of integration. So the first path is an API-based integration. In this path, we've pre-built some custom integration with leading platforms such as HiBob, SAP, SuccessFactors, Bamboo HR, Expensify, NetSuite, namely. And those are all API-based integrations that you can import HR, payroll, and time off data. Those are all scheduled processes, but you can also do it on demand in real time. So that's option number one. Second option is to use our HCM Cloud Connector. This is a file-based integration, which we utilize SFTP automation to automate the flow. And once we get the data, we use our mappers to standardize the data, map it into the Papaya global data structure, and make sure that we save the data properly in a unified way. After we finish importing the data, no matter if it's coming from an API integration or from a file, we have our own validation engine that we make sure that all the data that is coming into the platform is unified in the same structure we need it, accurate, and full. So we have all the relevant data for us to be able to have a successful down the stream process of payroll and payments. And I think to show you how we do that, I'll forward the stage to my colleague Perry Leggett for a platform demo.
Thanks, Urit. Hi, everyone. My name is Perry. I'm a member of our team that specializes in onboarding customers to our integrations. So I'm just going to be taking you through a short demo today, just a navigational overview of the integration section of our platform and a more practical example of HCM Cloud Connector, how you go through the mapping process, and as well as demoing a sample import to take you through the results, what information is available, and how to handle any issues that might come up. So you should be seeing my screen popping up just now. So where we'll be living today, of course, we're starting here on the home page of our platform, but we'll be living entirely in the integration section here. So if I click into the integrations, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the different sections here before we dive into the specific demo and a file upload. So this homepage here is really the overview and and also the configuration tab for each of the available integrations. Since this is our demo instance, you'll see many connections here. You'll see at the top the Papaya built solutions and connectors, including Cloud Connector, which we'll spend time on today. And then we get into the APIs that we have connected from other systems, starting first with the HRIS, and then Expensify, or expenses, including Expensify, as well as a journal entry system such as, or ERP systems such as NetSuite. Also, of course, single sign-on here at the bottom. So this page is meant to serve as the sort of starting point for any of the integrations. There's also management that can be done here. So for example, if you have one of the APIs, this is where we can adjust mapping, enable and disable the auto sync, or manually trigger API syncs if needed. And this can all be done from this page, or as starting at this page. I'll move into more of our practical example with HCM Cloud Connector today. So just to start you off, as Arit mentioned, HCM Cloud Connector is a system agnostic file import tool that we've built to allow you to map reports that come out of a system or are generated in a regular format, either CSV or XLSX format. Map those one time into Papaya's platform using the HCM Cloud Connector mapping wizard. And then future imports of that file can be received either through just manual uploads through the data imports tab, which I'll demo here in a moment, or those can be automated ideally via SFTP. So you can schedule those if the system you're exporting the data from supports scheduling and sending files over SFTP. That can be achieved as well, and is obviously the goal, so that the integration is as automated as possible and is removing any manual steps that your team might have. So if I click into HCM Cloud Connector here, this is where you would start the mapping process. So whether it be working with a member of our team, or if you're mapping a file yourself, this is where you would upload an example of that report in the template that will be mapped. So this pop-up here just kind of takes you through some of the details that I've already covered, and we'll just click through these to show you how you would upload a file. So as it mentions here, all you would do is click on this request mapping button. It will ask you a couple of questions about the file itself. Time permitting, I won't go through those in detail today, but you simply upload a version of that file. And then you do it with the appropriate permissions. You are able to map that file yourself, but someone like myself and a member of our support team is available to help you through that process, especially if we're talking about more complex integration. So if you're not sure how to get that process started, you can always reach out to us through Papaya 360 support to get that started, whether it be a simple file that you might be receiving, let's say, from a compensation team with bonuses, or a full scale integration with an HR system with many files that are coming. It's a good way to get it started. So this is effectively where we would start the process and work to map the file. Before I go into the data import example, showing where we actually upload a file and the results thereafter, I just wanted to highlight that the SFTP automation can also be managed directly within our platform here. So we have options for both inbound SFTP files as well as outbound connections. What we mean by that is internal SFTP would be a file you're sending to Papaya, a Papaya hosted location over SFTP. But as Reed mentioned, we also have outbound SFTP capabilities where you might want to export data from Papaya to another system or another location. Each of those can be managed through this tab. Again, I won't spend a lot of time diving into this in detail, but this is all managed essentially self-service through this tab, and the SFTP connections can be set up very, very quickly. All right, so now I'll dive into the data imports tab here. So if I click on data imports, this page is where all of the imports are managed, regardless of the system that they're coming from. So whether it be an HCM Cloud Connector import, or if it's an import, let's say, that's coming, or a sync from one of the APIs that you have connected, each of those syncs would show as a record on this page. You'll see there's a number of filtering options based on these details of the import. So you can filter it by project or by mapping name to easily find what you're looking for, but you'll see them essentially listed sequentially here, sorted sequentially by most recent import to least recent. The example we're going to give today is a file that I've already mapped. And so, of course, as you started earlier, you would obviously go through the mapping process, but we're just going to show an example where we import the file. It will go through the processing within a few seconds, and then we'll dive into the reporting that's available for that import to just help you understand what's available and then how to action some common issues. So to do that, since I'm demoing just a file that I'm uploading locally, this is done through this nice big blue import button here in the top right-hand corner. You'll also see there's a drop down here, which does not appear to be appearing for some reason, but if you click this down arrow, there's also an option for what we call pre-check. And what this will do is it load the file and take it through the data validations without actually making those changes to the platform. So what that allows you to do is just have one more step of review before actually making those have those changes made on our platform, which I know, especially during payroll time, the last thing you want to do is be trying to undo things. And so if you're importing a file, this allows you to, if you're importing a file manually, this allows you to review that validation before those changes are actually made. So in this case, I'll go ahead and click on the import data button. I'm going to select a file that I have ready and already mapped. You'll see the page will refresh and we have a new row here with the mapping name or label that we have for this template. It's processing, and in a few seconds, it will complete and give us a status and results to review. All right, it's completed just in time. You'll see it obviously gives the same overview information as you see for the other imports on this page. But if I click into it, you'll see a nice overview page here and the different results that are possible with each import. So here on the overview tab, you'll get a overview of the processed records here at the bottom. You also notice some helpful shading and flagging of issues and updates. So for example, we see a new joiner that would be created or is created as a result of this import, as well as a critical issue with a employee import that we'll talk about here in just a second. You'll get an overview of the number of records or issues that are in each category, and I'll walk through each of those here now. So here, this first group is called is the unidentified group. This is one of the more critical errors that I'll say could happen with the import. And what this means is it describes here at the top of the pages that the employee within or the worker record within the file could not be matched to a project on our platform. And this is really the first step as a result of the import. It's seeking to assign that worker to a project. And so if you have someone that's has fallen into this category, it means that there's an issue with the rules or logic that we have set up to assign them to the correct project. In this case, this is usually one of those situations where if you're unsure of how to resolve that issue, maybe you're unsure about exactly where that logic is coming from, you can always reach out to us through Papaya 360 support and flag an integration issue for our support team or as necessary a member of our team to help you diagnose and fix the issue. This next group are employee records that are able to be identified. So meaning we can match them to a project or an existing employee within a project. But an issue with a particular field is preventing it from being updated on our platform. So this normally means it's either missing entirely or it's in an invalid format. So you can see on this page, it's grouped by default by the field and the issues within each of those. So if I expand work email here, you can see that this employee is missing a work email entirely, which is one of our mandatory fields to validate the worker or import them to the platform. And you can also filter this by project as well. So if you had a larger file that had multiple projects, you can click on this project name here and sort to the particular project that you might be wanting to solve the issues for. The last tab that we have is the update tab, and this flags, as you would expect, the updates that are actually being made through this file import. So Cloud Connector generally operates under the assumption that you're providing us a full file, and it's making a comparison each time to the data we have on our platform compared to the file. And if there's a difference, it will make a change on our platform to what the data is that's on the file itself. So even though this file has several employee records and many pieces of data, in this case there was only a handful of updates that were made, and you can review those here, or you could review them on this overview tab here. So you can see all those updates that we saw were associated with this new joiner here, and you'll be able to understand each of those that are updated and be able to take action accordingly. All right, so that about wraps up my demo. I'm going to pass it back over to Iri to take us through the coming enhancements and plans that we have for our integrations domain. Thanks.
Thank you, Perry. So let me talk you through the new features that we have released and tell you a little bit more about them. So in the last year, we've been working really hard to enable the same flexibility as you guys have in entering data into the platform, also in the ability to be able to export data from our platform. So we have created a new framework called Data Export, which basically enables you to create custom reports and then be able to schedule sending them through an external SFTP that you guys can set up self-serve. So our customers are also in charge of how the data is being exported, when and where. So that's the first option. We enable to export all the HR information from our platform and also the salary updates and cost plans from our platform. The second option is our analytics connector. This uses the same framework, but in this case, we have enabled to schedule and export 4 pre-built reports from Papaya's analytics section. So those are the payroll cost breakdown and the invoice cost breakdown. And you will be able to also schedule sending them. So if you want to save that data into your BI tool or any data warehouse, you'll also be able to do that. The third option is our new journal entry custom builder, which uses our mapping tools and schedules and enables you to create the template of a journal entry file that matches your ERP system. So whether it is Workday ERP, SAP for HANA ERP, or any other general template, you can set it up with the exact logic of the file and the headers of the table that you wish. And it works in an automated way that when a payroll summary is approved by you, this flow automatically generates the journal entry in the way you have configured it. And we send that file into the SFTP that was configured. And also we save it in the platform in the payroll files as well. The last thing is US payroll focus. So we have created a new integration with our US partner Venture and their technology Prism HR. And this integration enables us to integrate the data points needed for US, which is typically a little bit more complicated, relating benefits and retirement. And this is a new integration and unique for the US and really tries to streamline the process of US payroll as possible. And that's our fourth new product that we have launched. And I think that now we have time for some Q&A.
Yes, thank you very much, Irit and Perry, for the informative session. And it's really exciting to see the new capabilities that were just launched. So I want to encourage everyone to post your comments, questions in the chat below. We received a couple of questions already, so let's give it 1 minute for us to review and start answering selectively some of the questions, Irit and Perry. And everyone, please feel free to use the chat to write your questions and we'll answer them shortly. Okay. So the first question, is the session being recorded? And if so, will you share the recordings? And yes, the session is recorded and we will share with you the recording shortly after the session is finished. All right, couple of questions. I believe this would be going to you, Perry. It's about permissions. What control do we have over visibility of the integration page? Who can map files and make edits?
Yes, so you have great control over that. So it's controlled, of course, by the individual's role on the Papaya platform. So just those with, I believe it's HR manager and, admin, HR manager, and finance manager roles, which are the higher permissions within our platform. There's also a great knowledge base article on user management in our knowledge base that goes through that in detail. So I won't go into all the detail there, but we can certainly share that after, so that you can double check the permissions and how you can manage those. The other thing I'll mention is that if you have individuals that might only have permissions on our platform for, let's say, one or a small group of projects, the permissions also are controllable by project as well. So, for example, if you have, let's say, 10 projects and you have one individual who should only see integrations data for the UK, based on their only having permission to the UK project, they would see integrations data filtered down to just the UK individuals. And that applies even if the file, let's say, was a global file that you had uploaded that had, locate people across many locations. The imports page that I demonstrated would be filtered down to just the projects that person has visibility to.
Thank you. Another question about AI. Irit, I believe it goes to you. How does AI fit into your integration roadmap? What should we expect moving forward in 2026?
Yes, great question. So we're going to have AI in two places in our integrations. The first one is in our mapper. So we are going to introduce suggested field mappings. So if you upload a file or if you will add, and basically just to clarify, whenever we say file and we refer to the mapping tool, it doesn't really matter if it's a file or an API. The mapper is the same for both entries. So suggested mappings. And also, since our mapper enables both mapping of fields and transforming the data, so we'll also enable AI in the transformations to be more of a chat option. So you will be able to say what you want, and the mapper will apply the correct data transformations. Today, you need to kind of be a specialist. We have a lot of different types of data transformations, and we want to make that flows easier.
Perfect. Thank you. Before we continue with additional questions, we received quite a few of them, so we'll try to answer as many of them as possible. While we're doing that, just a quick note that we've just shared with you a survey in the chat link. It would be marvelous if you could submit your feedback there. Would like to collect your feedback and make sure we continue this amazing webinar series in the most successful way. So feel free to click the link that we just attached in the chat and submit your comments. We'll continue with a couple more questions. Can we have multiple integrations, such as Bamboo HR integration, HCM for other systems? What are the best practices for this setup?
Yes, so we're definitely seeing a lot of customers using more than one data entry point. I have yet to meet, I believe, a customer that all of their payroll data comes from one platform. So it is very common to have a combination of an API and HCM cloud connector or different cloud connector mappings for different platforms, or even the same platform if it is a very large customer with a complicated data structure.
There is another option. Is there an option for us to delete imports that have been incorrectly uploaded?
Yeah, so unfortunately, it is not an option. The only option to request to delete data is opening a ticket. Okay.
And an interesting question that came up. All these features that you, Irit, presented are available now. Irit, to you.
Yes, so some of them do require some assistance. So for example, our new JE option. So all of the existing customers, we are working on migrating them automatically into the new tool. So the customer will not have to do something by themselves. but definitely new customers can use it. The data export and the analytics are also available.
Perfect. Perfect. So, thank you very much, Irit and Perry, for the informative session, and thank you everyone for posting your questions on the chat. So before we drop, just another last mention on the survey link that was posted in the chat. We'll be more than happy to collect your feedback. And as always, it's been a pleasure for us to host you today on today's webinar, focusing on the integrations. We look forward to seeing you again in your next webinars, and we'll keep it coming for new great features. And thank you very much for attending today.